Okay, I've heard and I've seen many clips in YouTube and going on and on and on how the movie 300 was bad or is wrong or is inaccurate because of the way they showed the soldiers or the Xerxes, the king, how he didn't even have a single hair in the whole body. His eyebrows were even painted, or he was covered with jewelries and women kissing each other, and he was skinny, and whatever the rest of the soldiers and the demons and everything. Very inhumane. The point that I'm trying to make, which is different from everyone else's point, is that if we were like carefully were to absorb the actual words that they used and the sentences, couple of them. I mean, when the messenger, I'm not sure whether you guys seen it, but please, when you see it, you'll see that when the messenger, which by the way was black, went to the king of Spartans, when the queen of Spartans were talking, he said he was surprised of the presence of a woman among the men. First of all, in the religion of Achaemenians at that time, Zoroastrianism was the only religion, is it the only religion in the world still, that actually allows women to get to the highest ranks, like the Dalai Lama, Pope, Ayatollah, or whatever. In Zoroastrianism, it is actually the only religion that allows women to get to high points or high levels. In Farsi now, which is actually rooted in like the older Farsi, which was in Achaemenians times, before Pahlavi, is the only language that there is no difference between women and men. I mean, in Farsi, I don't say he came or she came or his or hers. I mean, I use same thing for both women and men. And Cyrus the Great paid women, and Darius the Great and the rest of the kings, paid women the same amount of wages and salaries as did to men. In fact, according to one professor of one of the German universities, I don't know the name right now, but when they discovered some tablets from Persepolis, the capital city of Achaemenians, from Darius's time, his grandfather is the father of Xerxes. He said that women in Achaemenians' time had more rights than women in America now, and which is something to be focused, especially after what the Persian messenger supposedly said in the Spartan time. By the way, women in Greece at that time had had the same right as their slaves. They were brought up by slaves, or they were like being treated as objects, and if someone died, then the women with the other objects would have been inherited to the next generation. Greeks, in fact, they had slaves. Cyrus the Great released all the slaves. He didn't have slavery. There was there was another section in the film that the king, he was talking, he said Greece is the only hope. Actually, the king didn't, the person who was talking. He said, Greece, the only hope of logic and freedom. First of all, according to Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy, the first philosopher been recognized is Prophet Zarathustra, not even Plato. Okay, according to Herodotus, Plato was the student of Zarathustra's philosophy, which was 6,000 years before him. So people of Persia, people of Iran in that time were people of logic. We can see that from the religion of that time, which still is very modern after God knows how many thousand years. And the second one, the only hope of freedom. I mean, come on, that the such freedom that people actually experienced in Achaemenians' time was never ever been experienced by anyone in anywhere at any time. People were allowed to have their custom, their language, their faith, Even Darius, in some tablets we see that he actually pays a tribe, small tribe in the far east of his territory to actually do some of their ceremonies, which we don't even know what it is or what it was at that time. People were more free to actually choose. I mean, when Alexander came and attacked and conquered an already made empire, which was a Achaemenid empire, he tried to do the same things as does the Achaemenid kings did, as the Cyrus the Great did. But what we see is that Greeks, they poison him, they kill him, they poison him. He dies at a very young age. They don't let him actually become a Achaemenid king because they just don't want it. Because they're selfish. They just want their Greek stuff to be the dominant on the world. But we see that apart from Alexander, who actually did some stupid stuff. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that. But apart from him, we see other Greeks are actually trying to force their beliefs to other people. And this is something that the Achaemenids they never did. And in the film, always they try to show Persians as some dark forces. I'm just purely talking in the lines, and the Greeks were some heroes and some nobilities and everything. It's, if you read history, it's actually the other way around. Greeks were thieves. They used to come and steal from the cities around the border. That's why Darius the Great went there and conquered to in a war with them in the first place. Greeks were homosexual. I have nothing against homosexuals, but I'm just saying in the film they showed Darius, Xerxes, as a homosexual, which isn't the case. Spartans, as you all know, they were used to actually slavery. I mean, this is all they did. They fought and they took slaves so that the slaves do their jobs for them. And the thing about democracy, there are some research being done and that shows actually democracy goes way back before Greece goes to a place in Elam, which is between today's Iran and today's Iraq, which is in Middle East. So if this research to be finalized, we even can see that democracy goes way back than Greece, ancient Greece, and goes to somewhere between Mesopotamians or those nations down there. So we see that actually, in my opinion, in many other opinions, what they've done with this film is that actually they've tried first by showing the Troy, that how West won a war against the East, how superior West is, although they did because that was the first one. They had to show that the Trojans are very good and the Greeks were baddie people, if you know what I mean. And then they tried to do the same thing by showing Alexander's film, by making Alexander's film. And now with this, they just to just put their finger on Persia in particular. Especially America is trying to ease people's mind of actually going and attacking Iran, and he's just trying to show that as the Spartans were the good people and Greeks were the good people and Persians were the bad ones, we are the good people and Iran is the bad person. It's a political bullshit in my opinion, and every single brainy intellectual person should oppose to such usage of art as a tool and weapon of politics, in my opinion. Thank you.